Aloha, folks. Welcome back to Spike's Breezeway Cocktail Hour.
This is an exciting one. I'm excited to be bringing you not only one of my favorite drinks, but also one of the tiki world's most interesting stories, decanter, glassware from Trader Vic's by way of Cairo. Cairo? Yes, Cairo from Egypt. This is a weird one because as I was also, I guess I should, before I go on, if you guys notice, there's something dripping right here. It is raining once again in Southern California, and I did not want to move everything over to the rainy day bar because it's a pain in the ass, and it was just a little bit of rain today, but it's still enough to be leaking into the breezeway. Let's continue on with the show. The way that I decided on this next cocktail is I was going through my Trader Vic's menu here, and I came across a cocktail called the Suffering Bastard. Now, those of you who are tiki mug collectors know the Suffering Bastard as this character right here. And I've got a story about him. But let's keep going on the cocktail first. In the menu here, it calls the Suffering Bastard a forthright of rums, lime, and liqueurs with an affinity for cucumber. Cucumber? Formula from the Shepherd's Hotel in Cairo. Okay. Keep that in mind. But if we look at the Bartender's Guide from 1972, we come to find that the Suffering Bastard in here is basically a Mai Tai with an extra shot of rum and a cucumber slice garnish. So it kind of goes against the description in here. This thing says that it's from Cairo. Now that's not the recipe from Cairo. The recipe from Cairo is a gin drink. It's gin, it's lime cordial, the stuff, and brandy. So it's like a totally different cocktail. Now, I don't know what's going on with the Trader Vic's recipe, but I want to do the original version from the Shepherd's Hotel at the Long Bar in Cairo, Egypt in 1942. Once we make the cocktail, I'm going to tell you how I came to own this super rare Trader Vic's Suffering Bastard decanter. So, stay tuned. Also, I had Roots legend Mr. Deke Dickerson in the Breezeway just the other day talking about the music video that I filmed for his brand new song, Wild Wild Thing. We will have a little discussion about that after this. Now for this cocktail, we will be using Gosling's ginger beer, Rose's sweetened lime juice, Angostura bitters, Beefeater London dry gin, and Christian Brothers brandy, as well as an orange and some mint for garnish. Let's jump right into the cocktail. We will start off with this lime juice. Now, if you've been watching the show or if you know much about mixology or tiki drinks especially, you always want to squeeze your own fresh fruit. Oranges, limes, grapefruits, lemons, anything that is fruit that goes into a drink, you really want to try to squeeze yourself. But this drink specifically calls for Rose's lime cordial. I think I said that right. Cordial. Whew, that is... It's like really strong Gatorade, it smells like. Wowza. This is not a substitute for lime juice. Don't use this in your cocktails. Except for this drink. Use it in this one. We only need a half an ounce of this stuff. Okay. 1 ounce of London dry gin. I'm going to be using this Beefeater here. You might be thinking now, like, why am I going straight to the alcohol? And it's really because this is nothing more than alcohol and then ginger beer and some bitters. You'll see why we're not going to do the ginger beer first. And then 1 ounce from this ginormous bottle of brandy. Okay, now, 2 dashes of Angostura bitters. And a dash is that 1, 2. Don't be scared to dash it, like really get in there. Before I was kind of like, and then I got lessons. What the hell, man? Now here's the deal. The drink's not finished yet, but we need to shake this. And the last ingredient is ginger beer. It would be a disaster to shake this with ginger beer in it, especially I think it's 4 ounces or something. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna shake it like this, and then we're gonna add in the ginger beer. And this is ice that is from the grocery store, purified ice that has been chopped into fine ice chunks. Okay. And we shake. The tin is nice and frosty. Give it a little bit of a snap there. and immediately you smell gin, which is so rare for the Breezeway. But I do like gin. It has kind of like an earthy kind of quality to it, and refreshing. We need 4 ounces of ginger beer. Gosling's is always my preferred ginger beer because Gosling's is what you use for dark and stormies. And I know people will be like, oh, you can use whatever you want for dark and stormies. But I believe Gosling's ginger beer and Gosling's black seal rum are the dark and stormy. Now the recipe says to stir this into the drink. So we're just gonna stir that in. Usually I would use a can of Gosling's for something like this because now I have all this Gosling's ginger beer that's gonna go to waste. Unless I just drink like 7 dark and stormies tonight, but maybe I will, I don't know, we'll see. Okay, this is the other 2 ounces. And contrary to popular belief, this little fella right here is not actually called the Suffering Bastard. He was branded as Aloha Joe. And the way I know that is a buddy of mine found a whole display box full of these guys. But this one is branded as Trader Vic's, and it looks like a Moai that has a really bad hangover. So the cocktail goes into Mr. Aloha Joe / the Suffering Bastard. And we will top him off with some more ice. There we go. For the garnish, we will be using a slice of orange. And some fresh mint. Of course, you want to give it a whack to release the scent. And we will stick that right in the back there. And so from Trader Vic's, by way of the Shepherd's Hotel in Cairo, Egypt, this is the Suffering Bastard. Check this guy out. Super cool. All right, let's give it a try. Light, refreshing. There's a lime taste, but it definitely doesn't taste like fresh lime. You get a hint of the grape from the brandy, just kind of like a little bit in the back. And then the carbonation from the ginger beer is really nice. And there's kind of a ginger beer thing about it as well. God, it's a good drink. I've always loved this drink. It's a weird thing how this mug ties into the Trader Vic's legacy. Because he's not shown in here, so maybe he's newer than 1972. I'm not sure. But that's the next part of the story. And that's where this guy comes in. Let me help you transport back to the glorious age of 1998. I was in college in Stockton, California. University of the Pacific, just about an hour from Sacramento, a couple hours from San Francisco, and Stockton, California gave birth to Chris Isaak, an incredible tiki bar called the Islander that we all know so well for all of the mugs that came out of it, including none of the ones that are behind me. All right. So I've told this story a zillion times. Going to school for graphic design. And I had a graphic design professor there that would have meetings at his house sometimes. And his house was like this bizarro land of 50s and 60s and 70s stuff. All kinds of like the weirdest and raddest decor. And I was like, what in the hell is going on here? I was into rockabilly and swing music, but I hadn't really gotten into buying a ton of old stuff at the time. I remember he had an old refrigerator in the corner, one of those round top refrigerators, and it wasn't working. He just left it open as a display case. And inside were all these ceramic mugs. And I was like looking at them going, I don't know why I'm so drawn to these things. They're really cool. Like, I didn't understand what they were. And I was looking at them and it said like Bamboo Terrace or the Islander or Trader Dick's. And I was like, what in the hell are these things? And he's like, yeah, they're from Hawaiian restaurants, like tropical restaurants. They called them tiki restaurants and bars back in the 50s and 60s. And I was like, okay, I don't know why, but I am absolutely drawn to them. I just loved them. And he's like, yeah, I find them all the time for almost nothing at the thrift stores in Stockton here. And I was like, what do you mean for almost nothing at the thrift stores? He's like, yeah, you got to go into like the housewares or ceramic area. It's really good. It's really refreshing. It's light. It's like really light. It's a delightful drink. Super good. Probably super good if you were in a place like Cairo, like crazy hot with camels and pyramids and stuff. This is probably great. And I also like how kind of Egypt and Cairo also fits into the exoticism of tiki. Like obviously it's not Polynesia, but it's about adventuring and going to these different places. It's rad. Back to the story about college. I was already going to the thrift stores for clothes, so I was going in there and hunting around for clothes, but I never thought to look into houseware stuff. And it might be super obvious to a lot of people now, and it might be super obvious to a lot of my older friends who were into old stuff before I ever was. So I started going to the thrift stores, and I was buying mugs, and it felt like I was picking a tiki mug tree, and like every time I'd bring these things to the register, I'd have an armful of them. You know, 50 cents, 25 cents, maybe $1. If it was $1, you'd go, okay. If it's $5, you'd go, oh man, maybe I'll come back in a couple days and maybe they'll have marked it down. Yeah, $5. And I was like, that's a little bit too expensive for a tiki mug. So I'd be going to the register with arms full of tiki mugs. I felt like I was stealing them. I was like, you sure this is the right price? I didn't say that. I was like, in my head, I was like, you guys sure that this is the right price? Eventually eBay would happen and all of a sudden the thrift stores would get cleaned out. I'd go in there almost every day. There was a time when I was going to the thrift stores about 3 or 4 times a week and just harvesting all of this incredible decor. And not just tiki mugs, cocktail glasses, shakers, furniture, all kinds of stuff. And then eBay happened and everything was wiped out. You couldn't find anything in there anymore. It's a weird thing. There was a time before eBay. There was a time when going to the thrift stores was like going on an archaeological dig. It was kind of in a really bad part of Stockton, and Stockton has really bad parts. But you'd go in there and you'd kind of like check it all out, and it was just a treasure trove of things from the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. It was like go-go boots and fiberglass lampshades and tiki mugs, cocktail glasses, shakers, Herb Alpert records, Martin Denny, Esquivel, all kinds of things. 50s acoustic guitars. Man, what else did I find there? Pink brazier-shaped ashtrays, which I unfortunately broke. Lighters, record players, just, man, what a time. What a time. God, I miss that. I really miss that. Oh, what are we talking about? We're gonna be talking about this guy. So in the year 2000, the Book of Tiki was published by our buddy Sven Kirsten. And before that book came out, there was nothing on the internet about tiki. Almost nothing. And I was still in college there. I think around 1998 or 1999, I was walking through a thrift store in Stockton, looking at the shelves, and I had gotten quick. So I was walking fast and I was scanning the shelves as I was walking, trying not to bump into people. And I laid my eyes on this. And at the time, I was like, I don't know what the hell this thing is. It kind of looked like a tiki to me, but not really. Didn't really know anything about Easter Island, or you kind of knew some stuff from watching the Discovery Channel or National Geographic or something, but it didn't really make a whole lot of sense. And it had this tiny hole in the top. And I was like, was this a candle holder? Not really, but then the bottom says, federal law forbids sale or reuse of this bottle. So I knew that it was a bottle. It was supposed to be a bottle. So anyway, it was marked at $1, 99 cents. It was written on the bottom in crayon. And I was like, well, I don't really know what it is. It kind of looks like lava rock, kind of looks like a tiki, but there's nothing on the bottom that says anything Polynesian or tiki or exotic. If I don't like it when I get home or whatever, I can throw it off the roof and it'll be fun to watch it explode. Or, yeah, I know. I thought that in my head. I was like, dumb college guy. So, in the year 2000, our buddy Sven Kirsten publishes a book called The Book of Tiki. And that is the first time I ever saw this thing, and it had a description of what it was. The Trader Vic's Suffering Bastard decanter. It came with a little cork up in the top. Shortly thereafter, eBay happened, and I saw this thing listed for $900. Not listed, like it went for $900. $900. Now I think they're more affordable now on eBay, but this will always be the most treasured thing in my tiki collection. The Suffering Bastard decanter. The Aloha Joe decanter. Eventually I found this guy on eBay. And I knew I had to have him for doing this episode. So that's how I got this guy. And then Tiki Farm ended up re-releasing them later on. And but if you can find an original one, it's a cool mug. I just love that he looks like he has such a massive headache from all the rum that's in him. It's a good drink, man. I like that one. Oh, I also wanted to say that I'm in the process of having all kinds of merch made. We're redoing the glassware. We're gonna do some t-shirts. We're gonna do some pins, collectible pins for the Breezeway cocktail hour. So I hope you guys are hungry for merch because it's coming, and it is literally the only way I'm making any money from doing this kind of thing. And so with that, I wanna say thank you so much for joining me once again on Spike's Breezeway Cocktail Hour. I do appreciate you stopping by. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you aren't already. Be sure to hit that like button. Hit it. Leave a comment below. And with that, I will see you in the next cocktail video. Aloha. Before I go on, if you fucking monkey. The reason that I decided to do this cocktail is I was sitting there, motherfucker, it's dripping on me. Saboni, remember Saboni with Rihanna? Where the hell is that coming from? But I want to do the original version from 1947. 47 or 42. And Christian flavor, this is so distracting with like water falling on me. You always, always, always want to squeeze. Brandy. Dude, seriously. Getting so dripped on over here. Where did that come from? Here? I was in college at the University of the Pacific. Why is that so hard to say? And it's been chopped into fine cocktail God! Is it that? It's this right here. Jetliner. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you aren't already. Hit the subscribe button. Smash that like button. Do it. Do it. Do it. Thumbs up. It's a good drink. I like that one. I don't even know how we start this. Hi, Deke.
Glad to be here. This is my first time visiting the world famous Breezeway.
Yeah, we have Deke Dickerson, a legendary modern rockabilly, hillbilly, surf guitar enthusiast.
Yeah, as good as any, I guess.
This is the first time Deke's been in the Breezeway before, and we're just going to talk about the music video that we filmed for Wild Wild Thing, his brand new 45, or new-ish.
Yeah, new-ish. So, you know, we had made the record, and I, like all the musicians, have been at home not doing gigs.
Yeah.
And I started doing some of these a cappella videos where I'm playing all the instruments, and they've been fun. Like, people send me tips. It's a really nice way to help keep the bills paid around, you know, and still play some music. But then I was seeing all this stuff that you were posting, and it looks so good. The photography and the video, like, really, really well done. And so I said, let's make a video for this song, Wild Wild Thing. I think it's the best song on this little 4-song EP that we did. And that's when you came up with the idea for the location, which is a whole other story in itself.
Yeah, well, so I said, well, what do you have in mind for this video? And you're like, there's only 2 things that I want to feature. My 1960 convertible Cadillac Eldorado Biarritz, which is like the nicest 60 Cadillac.
Well, it's the fanciest model. Mine is not the nicest.
Well,
yeah. Mine just kind of barely gets down the road, but it is the fanciest model.
So that was something that you wanted to have involved. The other thing were your super fancy red boots.
That's right, yeah.
And you said, I don't know, make a music video featuring those.
Well, and you know, the song, there's 2 ways you can go about making videos. You can make it like a story, you know, like couple meets, couple falls in love, couple gets married, couple breaks up. Like that's, you watch a lot of videos, it's some kind of story like from beginning to end.
Mm-hmm.
But this one I kind of just thought, it's a cool song. Why don't we just make it like a Western feel?
Yeah.
And, have the car and the cowboy boots and, our Western clothes. And I think that'll be enough if we have the right location, and that's where you came in.
So I did a photo shoot out there for this burlesque show called Desperada, and my friend Tosca brought us out to this place that you and I ended up. And I was like, yeah, I think I remember where that spot was, because it was an easy drive, and you just kind of like end up in this vista that was really nice. Something
not the same place.
Something went horribly wrong, and you and I were driving for a while back into the hills of Castaic.
Well, you take the exit off Interstate 5, and then all of a sudden there's like these signs that say private road, no trespassing. But then this place you were telling me to go was like, well, it's up there like 7 or 8 miles. So, okay, let's just trespass and go, and basically you get on these narrow fire roads.
Yeah.
And they're not really public, but you see people bicycling and hiking and stuff, so it's like, okay, we're not going to get in trouble with the law here.
Mm-hmm.
And we got up about, 7 miles, up there, and there's a little place to sort of pull over, and that's where we were waiting on my band guys, the whippersnappers.
Yeah, and that's where we actually did an interview. I was
right.
well, while we're waiting, that's where we did an interview for Car Culture Deluxe magazine, featuring the lovely Miss Mosh on the cover. And you haven't seen this at all yet.
I haven't seen this, no.
So this is the story that we were telling up on that vista.
And you asked me, about having my car in a car magazine, and I felt very apprehensive about this, because if you get close up to my car, you're like, that is no show car, sir. But, it is a 1960 Eldorado Cadillac. It's a really cool car. And I'm hoping, that you use some Photoshop magic to, make it look good in this thing.
Well, the other thing is it's kind of rare these days to find a musician that actually, like, lives the era,
Yeah.
has the car, and I know your house is all 50s, and
I like old stuff.
I know, me too. You don't have to read every word here, but that's the layout.
Nice. So yeah, we did this interview for Car Culture Deluxe.
Yeah.
While we were waiting on the guys. Oh, this looks really good.
Thanks.
And then you're like, I think if we just go up like another mile, it'll be like a really nice vista where we can, have this thing. And so I'm in my 60 Cadillac, and you've got your car, which is a modern car, and the whippersnappers show up, and they got a modern car. And we start going up this thing, and it's like up a really steep hill, then down a really steep hill, then up another really steep hill, and then down another really steep hill, and then around this curve. And while we're doing all that, somehow the road then turns into like this gutted out fire road that is almost completely impassable. And I'm in my 60 just like, oh, this does not make me feel good at all. And there's like a big steep drop off to the left, and there's nowhere to pull over to the right.
And the whole time I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, what have I done to Deke? What am I doing to this 60 Cadillac? Like, this is going to be a disaster. The only car that we saw out there were like rock crawlers.
Yeah, like 4-wheel drive Jeeps.
Yeah.
And they were having difficulty getting up that hill.
They must have been like, what the hell is this car doing out here?
Oh, man. But we got it there. We got it to this place, and it was super cool because this is difficult to find almost anywhere in California. We got up on this hill where, as far as you could see, there were no buildings, there were no electric lines, there were no people. It was just like this incredible western vista. It was a great place to shoot. And I was really kind of pissed. I was mad about bringing my car up there. But then when I saw some of this footage, especially the drone footage, which was just unreal how great it looked, I was like, okay, all right, that was worth it.
Watching the dash cam footage back, because I wanted to use some of that, but you didn't have your sunglasses on, and you looked so stressed out, and you were hanging on your I was like, I can't use any of this. This isn't very cool.
Yeah, it was definitely not a relaxing drive.
No.
Friends, You've got a nice 1960 Cadillac. Don't do this.
So then we were setting up to shoot, and we went through the song a couple of different times. The biggest concern that we had was you losing your hat down the ravine.
Because the wind was blowing like 30, 40 miles an hour. And I knew that it was going to be windy, so I actually brought 2 hats. And we're standing up there on the edge of this mountain, and this wind is just like... I still don't know how it didn't blow off. I have no idea.
I don't know. But every moment of that video shoot, I was thinking, I can't believe what I'm doing to Deke right now.
You know, we shot a lot of stuff. Like you had the dash cam footage, and you had the drone, and we did a bunch of takes, and the whole time this wind is just blowing like mad.
Yeah.
It's just crazy wind up there. And I'm looking down at this road that we got to go to get out of there, and I'm just thinking, oh man, this is what the hell? What the hell?
And I could sense that you were like, how am I going to do this? And I'm not enjoying this. And I think Xander was terrified.
Yeah.
Should we go down now? Just say when.
Say I'm scared.
Oh, shit. Take it easy, Deke Joe. This is gonna bottom out, so just beware.
This really, I can just see this getting really bad and fishtailing and going off the side and rolling. So let's just get the guitars out of the Cadillac. Let's put them in your car.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I was telling the guys in the whippersnappers, because it's the 3 of us in the car, look, if anything goes bad, just jump out to the left, you know, like just think about how you're going to do that, you know, like 1 or 2 steps, like grab here, push with your foot, you get out, you know. And I was just thinking, yeah, this could very well turn into a accidental Thelma and Louise kind of an ending. Luckily, you know, those things have pretty powerful engines, and I have to say that when we started going up that hill, as nasty and rutted out as it was, I just floored it.
Yeah.
And I never got up above 35 miles an hour, I don't think, you know, but it was like, it never stopped. I was just waiting for it to sort of like, you know, die or, you know, like gurgle, and then like all of a sudden we'd be going backwards.
Oh,
but
God.
It never did.
Yeah, I know. Okay, let's just roll this and see what you think, because you're right. There was so much stuff that you haven't seen that is just great footage. Like all this slow motion footage. I think the cool thing too is that you don't usually see you depicted as such a badass. You know what I mean? And there's like a bit of a Dukes of Hazzard kind of vibe to this too, like the Cadillac out in the back hills.
Well,
Like,
and did you see that one comment that some guy left on the YouTube video? It's like, oh, I didn't know Bill Clinton had a band now. I'm like,
Clinton.
like, what? I guess that's me. But yeah, you know, this song is a serious song. You know, the guy's talking about how when he was a kid, like he never knew his dad, and when the courthouse burned, they lost his name. I mean, it's like some pretty serious lyrics in there. So I'm like, okay, we're not gonna be goofy. We're gonna be like really serious and kind of badass.
Yeah, and I think it really came out well. But yeah, there was all this stuff that I didn't use because it was just like kind of didn't fit in, but it's also really cool footage, you know? Like you put the right music over that and it all of a sudden becomes a drama or something. You look like you're debating your life, your life choices.
I was. I'm like, how did I get talked into bringing my 60 Cadillac up here?
No kidding. So yeah, there's you guys up on top of the vista there. It was a great little landing, like a place to set everything up, you know? When all we saw were mountain bikers, I was like, uh-oh, where are we? Yeah, the drone was concerning too because it was so windy. And I was like, I don't know if I can launch my drone in this wind, but it really came out cool.
Well, and you had that thing flying pretty close to my face a few times, and I'm like, and you know, the wind is blowing like mad.
Yeah.
So I'm just thinking, oh God, I really don't want to have a drone propeller taking out my nose.
And the whole time I was thinking the same thing. I was like, please don't let me hurt this guy. Is it crazy to see this footage again?
Yeah, because, all I've seen is the edited video, but like looking at some of this, I remember some of the other things that we were doing. We were up there quite a while.
Yeah.
And, when you're up there, especially after a harrowing drive like that, you're just thinking, oh man, is this going to be worth it? Because if not, it would be really stupid. But, luckily it turned out great.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate you having faith in me.
Is this where I start going down?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
You can hear the drone too.
Yeah, definitely not having fun.
Friends, got a nice 1960 Cadillac. Don't do this. So we're gonna turn around? We're not turning around. This is where we're stopping. Oh. We probably didn't get in the shot that he wanted, but quite honestly, I'd rather have a place where I can turn around if a car comes. There ain't more cars coming.
Some cool stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing you can do all that and not get the other cars in there,
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that people commented on was just, it's so California. Mm-hmm. And I love that about the place that you found is it's like, yeah, it doesn't really look like anywhere else. I mean, that is just full on like old California right there.
Yeah. It seems like the kind of place that they would have filmed a Western, like a John Wayne thing.
Yeah.
It was a cool location and for a cool song. I guess unless you have any other thoughts about the music video filming, like maybe we could just ask you some questions in general.
Sure.
Okay. That Cadillac's a pretty special car, and it's an expensive car now. Was there ever any other 1950s or 60s car that, if you could trade the Cadillac, you would take that car?
I probably would never trade the 60 Eldorado because that literally it's maybe my favorite.
Yeah.
But I've owned a bunch of them over the years.
Yeah.
I had a 57 Coupe de Ville and I had a 60 four-door hardtop and I got to remember now. I had one or two other ones that were all kind of pieces of junk, but any of the 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59 Eldorados they're unreal. Especially when they're in really, really nice condition. So really, if you had to make me get rid of my car, I would only do it if I could trade it for one that was in super nice condition. The sad thing about my car is it's like, okay, it's sort of like it runs, it drives, but any money that I put in it it's just a loss because people are like, man, that car's got to be worth so much money. I'm like, yeah, but if I put 30 grand into it, then it would be worth like 20,000 more.
Oh, right, yeah.
Like, I'm just losing money.
Yeah.
The more money I put in it, so...
And also, if you'd never sell it, then...
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just enjoy it.
Yeah.
Try not to take it on too many two-lane gravel roads up the mountains.
Gravel was like when it got nice.
Exactly.
When I first saw you performing, you basically only played your double neck Mosrite.
Yeah.
And I thought that was like your thing. And then you started playing a Telecaster a lot, and now you're playing like this big bodied Gibson, I think, right?
It's a custom guitar, but it's meant to be a replica of a Gibson Super 400.
Okay.
Big arch top guitar.
And you have a zillion guitars. Do you have a favorite guitar?
Well, that's a difficult question because some guys are like, I have one guitar and that's my guitar and that's how I get my sound and all that.
Yeah.
But I've always been kind of one of those guys like, if I'm going to do a surf thing, then I'm going to need this guitar. Mm-hmm. And if I'm going to do a country thing, I'm going to need this guitar. Mm-hmm. And if I'm going to do a punk rock thing, I'm going to need that guitar. Mm-hmm. And to me, like, it's nice being able to just pick and choose.
Sure.
And have these things that work really well in that application. So, if I was doing a country thing, I would take the Telecaster. Mm-hmm. That's like the greatest country guitar, And if I was doing a surf thing, I would probably have a Strat or a Jazzmaster.
Right. Well, you've always been so good at nailing vintage tones and vintage kind of aesthetics and stuff too. I think I think that's probably where some musicians kind of tie their own hands. Like people like, obviously, you think of those musicians that have their signature guitar, like Angus Young would look funny playing a Strat.
Yeah.
And Setzer would look funny playing a Jazzmaster or something. But I think where they get their tone maybe from a certain guitar, I think you get your tone just from maybe your style of playing and your ability, which is actually, I think, more impressive than...
A lot of it's in the hands. Because even me, like, I listen to some of my favorite guitar players, Merle Travis or Joe Mapus or Chet Atkins or anything like that. And those guys sounded pretty much the same on any guitar you put in their hands. Mm-hmm. And it was just their hands. It was just the way that they played. And so, for better or for worse, I think I kind of play all my guitars a certain way, and it comes out. You can tell it's me playing.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I meet a lot of young guys that just don't understand that. Like, I need to buy this guitar and this effect and this amp, and then I can get that sound. And it's like, yeah, but you're playing it like a kid who's only been playing for 3 months. You can't have that same attack that Dick Dale had, or Brian Setzer had. These guys have been playing for years and have like really strong technique and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So a lot of it just has to do with getting your hands in shape and knowing how to play those things properly. And then when you do get the right vintage guitar, vintage amp, then all of a sudden it really clicks into place, and you're like, yeah, woo, that's it.
So I'm gonna propose probably the most horrible thing that you could ever imagine. If somebody took away all of your guitars and said you can keep one.
Yeah.
I apologize for even bringing that up.
Well, honestly, if I had to just have one guitar, it would be my 54 Telecaster.
Well, yeah.
I got lucky enough it was a guy who was a friend of my dad's back in Virginia that he grew up with. And when I was 13 years old, we went to his house and he showed me this 1954 Telecaster.
Yeah.
And I said, Hubert, the guy's name was Hubert, if you ever sell that thing, let me know. And I must have been, 26 or 27. This is a long time ago.
Oh, so before they were worth a fortune.
Exactly. He called me up and he said, I'm ready to sell this thing, and I got a guy that wants to give me $2,000 for it. So if you can give me $2,000 for it, you can buy it. And I was like scrambling, I was just like, I came up with $2,000 in a week or two and borrowed some money or whatever. Mm-hmm. But, now you couldn't touch one of those things,
For what? 40, 50, 60?
No, I don't think that much.
Oh.
Because mine's in pretty, road-worn condition.
Yeah.
But it's at least a $20,000 or $25,000 guitar.
Jeez, yeah.
Which is why I don't take it out on the road anymore.
Uh-huh.
I used to actually just tour with that thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that is, if you're talking about Fender geekery, it's got all the stuff that you want out of a Telecaster. It's feather light because, around 54, they started using this particular type of really light, swamp ash. Uh-huh. And it's got a neck made by this guy named Tadeo Gomez.
Okay.
Like if you take out those necks, there's a couple of different names that are, like they would sign them when they would get done with the necks, as well as dating them. Mm-hmm. And the best necks were made by this Mexican guy named Tadeo Gomez. And so, I took my neck off one time, and there it is, TG,
no way.
1154. So
wow.
It's all the best things you want in a Telecaster.
Yeah.
And I've never played another Telecaster that I liked as much as that one. So
yeah.
If I had to get rid of all the other guitars, I would keep that guitar.
After this, you're playing a show.
Yep.
One of 2 shows that you've played in the last year or something?
4 shows.
Okay.
And they've all been at this place here in Newport Beach called Campus Jacks.
Yeah.
And they've got a big outdoor parking lot in back, and the first couple of shows we were just out in the parking lot with tables and the stage. Now they actually have like a tent sort of constructed, and it's weird and it's awkward, but at the same time, like, man, I'm so grateful to just like have these couple of gigs to play.
You miss performing live?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think all of us are waiting to see, like, once everybody gets vaccinated and we sort of get back to normal, the rest of society, like, hopefully live music is going to come back,
Yeah.
You just got to get to a place where people feel safe about going out. And I'm worried about a lot of these venues, a lot of the bars and restaurants and concert venues and things. I don't think they're going to survive the pandemic.
Yeah, and this maybe doesn't have any relation to the current situation, but since we are sitting in a tiki bar, you played Don the Beachcomber a couple times,
Yeah,
right?
many times.
Do you have a favorite tiki bar across the country that you've been to?
That's a good question. Because I've been to a ton of them, you know, over the years. Sadly, you know, most of them, like you were just talking about Bahuka and why am I forgetting the Kelbos? You know, it was in Santa Monica. They're all gone. You know, like so sad. And now Don the Beachcomber's gone.
Yep.
And you know, I never got to go to the place in Fort Lauderdale.
Oh, the Mai Tai.
Yeah, the Mai Tai. I never got to go there, which I always heard was the best one in the country.
Yeah, and hopefully the Mai Tai will be able to survive this too. We'll see.
Well, you heard about their ceiling cave-in or whatever?
Yeah.
That sounded bad.
I think it's an $8 million repair or something.
Oof.
So,
Jesus.
but they have such a big lot that they're able to maybe partition off part of the parking lot and sell it for condos or something.
Wow.
So yeah, it's a really expansive place.
But I will say, I'm trying to think if I ever actually played at any other tiki bars besides Don the Beachcomber. We did a private, like a birthday kind of show at a Trader Vic's in Atlanta.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was super cool because we were just kind of there in a corner. You imagine like that's the way it was back in the old days.
Yeah.
It was just like a live band in the corner. It wasn't like a concert or anything. We were just there to entertain the birthday boy.
What band was that?
That was with the Echoponics.
Oh, okay.
And that was, 10 or 15 years ago.
Yeah, but you did play for years at the Lava Lounge.
Well, true. Actually, not for years. It was only over a couple of years back in the late 90s, when they were having bands like 6 or 7 nights a week.
Okay,
That was a great little place.
Yeah, that was a good era for music. Even the early 2000s was a great era for music.
And, before we get off the subject of tiki bars, I just remembered, what was the name of the place in San Francisco that had it had a lake and a band played on the boat in the middle of the lake while it rained indoors.
Yeah,
what was the name of that place?
The Tonga Room.
The Tonga Room.
Yeah.
I went to a few happy hours where they would have a ukulele person or whatever. And I'm like, I want this gig. I want this gig. But I was never able to get a gig at the Tonga Room. That would have been incredible.
So Chris Isaak released, I think, Blue Hotel or something there.
That makes sense.
And he was out there in the middle of the pool with like a 3/4 scale guitar and singing by himself with his little tiki necklace on.
That's so cool.
Yeah. I wonder if I have Tonga Room. Maybe I don't have Tonga Room stuff out here. But the first theme of the Tonga Room was actually a cruise ship. And then it went Asian, and then it went tiki. So that's kind of the way that...
Yeah, it had been there since like the 30s or 40s or something, right?
Yeah, basement of the Fairmont Hotel.
And is it still operating or did it go out of business?
Yeah, it's still going. So
All right.
you're not really known as much of a drinker. And actually, I think this is kind of the closest way that we'll get you onto the Breezeway Cocktail Hour. There's been a lot of people requesting to get you onto the Breezeway Cocktail Hour.
Yeah.
So you aren't really known as like a cocktail guy, but the first time I saw you perform was at the Crest Theater in Sacramento. And I remember, first of all, I was like, I don't know what the hell this guy is doing. He's singing about fried chicken. And I went there to see Mike Ness, which was very serious and, punk rock and heavy country. And there's this guy up here singing about fried chicken and what was the other one? Poontang and stuff.
Yeah.
And you couldn't bring beers or cocktails into that theater because they were worried about people spilling them. So at one point in the show, you go, well, I heard that you can't have drinks in here, and I'm really sorry about that, but I'll let you share some of mine.
I don't remember this, but I know exactly what's coming next.
Yeah, so you had this trick, right, called the beer fountain.
Yeah.
So how does that work?
Well, I have a really big mouth. Big enough to fit a can into. And so, back when I was 16 or 17, I perfected this trick where you sort of hold a can with your teeth and then just, tilt your head back, let the beer drain into your throat, and then you just spray it all around the edge of the can while you're still holding the can with your teeth. And it creates this beautiful fountain that goes up about 20 feet up in the air. gets everybody wet and everybody gets mad and pissed off. And we had a band called the Untamed Youth. That was like my first touring band.
Yeah.
And first band I ever made records with. And we had a song called Pabst Blue Ribbon, and we would end Pabst Blue Ribbon with our beer fountain, and people would just get furious.
Furious. I thought that was the funniest thing in the world, that you would, the reason why we couldn't be in that theater drinking was literally what you just did to the whole theater.
Man, I don't even remember that. I remember playing at the Crest. That was
Yeah.
a cool little theater.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's it.
All right. Well, I'm honored to finally be here in the famous Breezeway.
Yeah.
It's pretty much everything I thought it would be. There's like a pair of there's a package for some thigh-high nylons in the trash can in the bathroom. That's exactly what I wanted to see when I come to the Breezeway. I recognize it from all these photo shoots that you've been doing.
Yeah, there's just less girls in here right now.
Well, yeah.
The way it goes sometimes.
Exactly.
So, yeah, thanks again for making the time. And
Yeah, man. Thanks for doing the article in Car Culture Deluxe. Can't wait to read that. And if you haven't seen the video, make sure you go to YouTube and check out the video. And I think we're up to like 5,000 views or something like that. It's just getting started.
yeah, I think hopefully it'll be a big deal.
Cool.
I think it's worth it.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. The end.
There you go.